Hello, I'm Angela Aurora. Welcome to the Oracle book series. Here you'll find interviews with our authors and lots more. We hope you enjoy the show. If you do, remember to click subscribe and share on socials. Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Oracle book series and the Magdalene Oracle Awakening the Power of the Rose. I'm absolutely delighted today to bring you three beautiful authors from our book, which comes out on the Feast of the Magdalene in July 2025. So our book is more than you can possibly imagine. It's filled with the most incredible sacred practices and stories of people's remembrances and the wisdom of the rose. It's just so incredible. I can't wait for you to get your hands on it. So first of all, I would like to introduce Sandi Rufo.
Hello, how are you today, Angela?
I'm really good, thank you, Sandi. So let me tell people all about you, first of all. So Sandi is a holy rebel, an intuitive channel, and co-founder of Magdalene Rising, a sacred uprising for women reclaiming their power beyond religious dogma and patriarchal shame. Sandi is a spiritual fire starter and unapologetic shadow walker, and she guides midlife women to break ancestral cycles, awaken their soul voice, and embody the fierce grace of the divine feminine. Her work fuses ancient wisdom with raw truth, resurrecting Mary Magdalene as an icon of liberation, love, and feminine sovereignty. So I'm so happy that you're here, Sandi. I'm just so happy that you heard the call and wrote in the book. So tell us about your chapter.
So my chapter is about probably the one thing that is so important to me. When I first read the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, it resonated with me on such another level, and it brought such awareness to the things that had already I had experienced in my life, and I felt like it was the one missing piece that I needed in order to move forward in my life. Um, it's pretty much about breaking the chains of 2,000 years of this hidden information that I have to stand on a soapbox to yell about it because I'm still so angry and enraged that this has been hidden for such a long time. And women have suffered so much from not having this truth. But it's when I was younger, I was baptized at 6 years old. And before that, I used to go into my closet. And as an only child, I would sit in my closet and I would call in my angels, and they kept me very safe in there, and I would have conversations with them. And once I was baptized, it was explained to me that I couldn't speak to the angels anymore because it was my imagination, and that Catholicism did not believe in things like that. Like, you couldn't just talk to an angel. You had to go, you had to pray in church, and you had to repent about things and sacrifice. And it wasn't until I started learning about Mary Magdalene and tapping into that again and recognizing, oh, I've been here before. This is something I've lived through as a child, and I was told this wasn't okay. And it just opened this whole world to me of like navigating and trying to find how we can how we can get in touch with those things, that soul side of us. And so I dove right in and I learned about the seven powers, which were the seven egoic powers, which have been referred to as the seven demons, which they weren't demons at all. And how Jesus was teaching Mary Magdalene to overcome those 7 powers. Those are our human egoic powers that living in a time where we're so we want to belong so much like that we will not listen to our soul side. So we have the 2 sides of us, and there's the ego side that wants to belong so badly that patriarchal, religious, and societal conditioning, we will sacrifice our soul voice in order to be part of something. And we're not listening to our soul voice. So it's really about bringing us back to that place, finding that within ourselves again.
I love it. I love it. And your practice. Tell me all about the practice that you share in our book.
Yeah. So I'm from the Magdalene Rising Collective. So we are 4 women, we are international, and we are on the path of rising the Magdalene in every woman. And we have some men too that follow us, which is just such a beautiful experience to see them come into themselves and learn about the feminine. What we do is we work through, we learn to connect with our soul voice first, which the first time I actually heard about the soul voice was through Megan Watterson's book. So tapping into that space and really just shutting everything else out, and tapping into our soul voice and listening, asking the questions of what it is we need to learn and which one of those powers we need to work through at this time. So we have a program, and the chapter in the book talks about that. We go through every power. So there's ignorance, there's I can't even think of them all now. There's 7 of them. I should have them listed here, but I don't. And we go through each power and see how that shows up in our lives. And then we tap into our soul voice to see how we can overcome them. And it's just a wonderful practice. It does require more than one time. I think the first time you get that message is like your aha moment. You're like, oh, wow, this was there all along. I haven't been listening. And then we do clearing of chakras, we do some cacao stuff. It's just wonderful. It's really getting in tune with yourself and clearing the way um, of all of these issues that come up. And I find myself now, like I've gone through my own program 3 times now, and each time I get more and more clarity. And I recognize that I'm leading with my soul voice all the time now. Like when something comes up, I can still hear that egoic voice being like, yeah, you should probably, you should go off and you should eat that cake. But then my soul voice is like, your body doesn't want that cake. Don't eat
Mhm.
it. It's no good for you. So it's like, it's a path that takes time, but you can slowly see yourself leading from the place of your soul instead of your ego.
Hugely empowering.
It
Hugely empowering.
knowing that that power is within us already, we already are divine. We have that connection and that ability to get to our consciousness, and we just have to kind of clear the way for it. So it's a lot of just learning how to clear that way.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll be coming back to you in a moment, but I would like to introduce Angela Solrose next. So, Angela Solrose is a visionary channel, divine feminine priestess, and healer with over 14 years' experience. And Angela weaves spirit and soul through healing, dream medicine, intuitive guidance, and ceremony, guiding others to birth their inner light and walk the path of remembrance. Welcome, Angela. It's so lovely to have you here today and to have your incredible chapter and practice in our beautiful book.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here and just so heart-filled to be a part of this beautiful book that I really believe is bringing such light and wisdom to the world and to many people. So, yeah, thank you.
Bless you, Cariad. So tell listeners all about your chapter.
My chapter, it's titled Rebirthing the Feminine Christ, the Inner Mysteries of Desire. And I talk about primarily an initial kind of really profound experience in my life that happened when I was pretty young, only about 18. And this was kind of my like biggest initiation with the goddess, when I really started understanding that that was the path I was meant to be on. And in this particular experience, I interacted with the Magdalene frequency, with Mary Magdalene, and especially with desire, working with that power of desire. So desire is one of those seven powers, or as they are sometimes named, demons. But I really believe that these are powers that are actually meant to free us, to bring us closer to our light. So in the chapter, I talk about how we can do that, birth our light, and birth light in the world through working with particularly the power of desire. And this experience, it's still impacting me. It's still unraveling to this day. You know, um, at the time, there were so many aspects of the experience that I didn't really know what they meant, but some part of me did. And how beautiful is it to just like watch that blooming, watch that unfolding. And that's how I see the path with the powers and the path with Magdalene. It's this dance that gets to bloom and unfold, and it's meant to be this wonderful, joyful expression of our light, the birthing of our light. So yeah, looking back, I really see this experience for me as like my initiation into service of the divine feminine. And it's funny because a lot of times when I think of initiation, you think of this like grueling process. But it really wasn't. It was very pleasant, but very deep. And I feel like that's the place that we start to access when we work with the powers, when like we're not going to the suffering and getting kind of caught in those traps of the grueling. Actually, we have this ability to work with those powers in a way that brings us to this just beautiful, light-filled, gorgeous depth. And this experience kind of carved that pathway in my energy body. And it's still teaching me to this day. I really learned through it that when we sever off or try to disconnect ourselves from the experience of being human, from the suffering, it's constricting, and that's really what binds us. But I learned through this, like the carving of those energetic pathways, that it's wholeness, it's holiness, it's bringing those pieces back to us, integrating them, loving this human journey. And how to do that, it's like, it's not simple, and it's something that happens for us again and again and again, and we keep going deeper and deeper with it. And like how beautiful. So yeah, I really learned too, that's just like all the obstacles, not just desire and how that may show up as like the, like, oh, this like aching, grueling, hard human thing at times. All of those powers, all of the difficulties that we go through really are just these beautiful opportunities, these doorways that birth us back to our light, that bring us back to our divinity, that allow us to integrate this beautiful human experience with the beautiful divinity, the light that we are.
Thank you. And you write so beautifully as well, and you can really feel what's going on as you're describing it. It's absolutely beautiful. I can't wait for people to get their hands on our book. It's so exciting. So tell us about the practice that you share.
Yes, so the practice is it's a holy desire ritual. So, I mean, I call it rebirthing the feminine Christ through enlightening your inner desire. So, you're working with your inner desire, the aspect of your human desire. And this ritual is meant to carve those pathways that reconnect this human desire with your soul desire, with it shows you that pathway. It allows you to create it in your own energy field, in your body, in your heart, in your mind. And every time that you do this practice, you're carving that pathway deeper. And it's not only something that is like contained within the practice. The more that you show up to it, it starts to reflect in your life, so that you're able to um, know how to navigate, and we're not getting stuck in, say, like the binding force of desire or shame or guilt, or like wanting to be perfect. We're finding our way of like, okay, how do I meet these forces and integrate them into wholeness, integrate them into holiness within me? And it shows up in these really practical ways as we give attention to like this ritual, or to our creating that in our energy field.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing your sacred practice as well. I know that people are going to benefit so much from all of the practices in the book. I'll be coming back to you in a moment, Angela. So, Natalie, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Oh, thank you so much, Angela. I'm so deeply honored and excited to just be a part of this book and everything we're birthing into the world.
And we are so blessed to have each and every one of you. I can't believe how the divine has woven the threads of the book together. We cover so many topics. It's absolutely incredible. So let me tell you all about Natalie. Natalie LaBonte is a high priestess of the Magdalene Isis lineage. She's a Magda of red wealth and magic, and weaving ancient priestess traditions and devotional practices to help her clients passionately love the totality of their divinity, grace, and unshakable power. So, Natalie, tell us all about your chapter.
Yes. So my chapter is titled The Love of the Rose, Reclaiming Sovereignty Through the Resurrection Rites. And in this chapter, what I discuss is this really powerful moment I had with Mary Magdalene in her church in Saint-Baume, in Saint-Maximum, and the journey of even going there to begin with, because in her church, I had this holy awakening, and really she kind of had to shake me up a little bit and help me to see how unworthiness was playing a role in my life. And it was this catalyzing moment where I couldn't have been more unconscious to it, because it's interesting, as I've been on this spiritual path and journey for over 10 years now. Logically, it's interesting how our minds think, oh yeah, no, I'm worthy of love. But then it's the moment of like, do you really feel that? And Mary Magdalene, gosh, she just helped me to see, like, in this 0 point calibration moment of how unworthiness had been playing a role in my life, many different facets of my life. And with that, it opened up my heart to be willing to work with her in a way. Like, for whatever reason, there's many ascended masters that I had been working with truly, like, since birth. And then through my spiritual awakening, but Mary Magdalene was like one of them, where I don't know, I had kind of an interesting push-pull relationship with her. And she helped me to really reclaim and see how worthy I was, and worthy to be in those relationships with the ascended masters, to be in that constant community of like, I'm not bothering you, right? Like, can I come with you to like write this question? Where it's kind of funny how we can kind of be like, I don't want to bother you, but can you help me with this? Or at least I've experienced that. And so with that, the chapter is just really exploring this incredibly pivotal moment, and then the expansion and awakening of the opening to the love that God wants to give me, to give all of us in every present moment, of like, how much more can I receive, knowing that I am worthy to receive God's love in every second of every day. And so really exploring, that beautiful sacred totality, and just the remembrance of how worthy we are. Each and every one of us are worthy of the support that's available to us physically and beyond, and that we're worthy of living in joy and bliss and experiencing the love of God in so many different ways, whether that shows up in relationships, in the service that we're providing someone, the conversation that we have, with a stranger that we weren't expecting. There's just so many ways that God's love pours into our life every day.
I mean, people forget that we are divine. We are sparks of the divine. We, each and every one of us is a sovereign being, and it's about stepping into that sovereignty. And there is so much empowerment coming through all of the chapters in the book. And I mean, that, in my experience, that's something that Mary Magdalene does. She does not mess about. She really kicks you up the butt and gets you moving. So,
Yes.
so tell us a little more about the practice that you share.
Yes. So the practice that I shared, it's a resurrection ritual. And it was so beautiful when this was coming forth. And what I'm loving about this particular rite is how it's also making resurrection, knowing like it's something that actually does happen, where we are perpetually in cycles of death and rebirth in our lives. And the energy of resurrection, with which that's one of the sacred flames that Yeshua and Mary Magdalene oversee. But the energy of resurrection, it's something that can be available to us when our hearts and our souls are feeling called to it. So maybe it's a project that we're working on, or we're just in a place in our lives where we recognize there is this evolution, this rebirth happening, and that we need that support. And Mary Magdalene, throughout this beautiful ritual, she's walking alongside us, like wing to wing and heart to heart, and helping us. It's like this, in this ritual, it's this beautiful tandem where she's walking alongside you, helping you with this process, and inviting you into your own sovereignty of like, you can do this. Like, you have the power, you have the strength, you are divine, you can oversee this holy resurrection rite yourself. And so it's just this really beautiful co-creation with Mary Magdalene to awaken and arise anew. And I know it's going to be one of those rites that people will come back to. Like, they'll know when it's the time to do this resurrection ritual. And like, just listening to their heart and their higher guidance, like, and what's more powerful than that? And knowing that you have the ability that you can reclaim and say, yes, I am awakening to a greater level of my sovereign divinity. Yes, I am worthy of this. Yes, I receive this. And so I know that's what people are going to be receiving in this ritual.
Well, we should remember that in the Essene community, when Yeshua and Mary were alive, resurrection rites were actually part of the practices there. And, you know, we hear about these in many of the channel books, and some of us even remember them. So it's one of the things that I love about the Oracle books is that they are so deep and they are so rich. And you can basically pick up the book and ask your guides, what do I need today? And open the page. And it may be resurrection, it may be any of the practices. And I think that's the joy about the way that the books are structured, which I absolutely love. So thank you so much, Natalie. I'm going to circle back to Sandi now and ask Sandi a final question. So tell us, Sandi, what's the one key takeaway you want readers to have from your chapter and your practice?
I think I want people to know that that divinity is within them, and we've just been kind of hoodwinked into believing it's not true, and that we can find that within ourselves. And I think both Natalie and Angela were, referencing the same thing. It's like, it's so simple, yet it's so hard. Like, it's so easy to get there, but we need the tools in order to do it. And so Magdalene has been, tapping us on the shoulder and saying, you have the skills, share this. People need to know that this is available to them. And I think that Magdalene is like a global movement right now, and we're all so, so fortunate to be a part of it. And I'm just excited to see where this all takes us.
I know. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I 100% agree with you. And I mean, you all know that it was spirit that guided the creation of this book. That's what they wanted. They wanted this to be launched this year. And I keep saying it. I am so, so thrilled that you all answered the call. Thank you, Sandi.
Thank
So,
you.
Angela, coming back to you, my darling, tell us the one key takeaway you want readers to have from your chapter and your practice.
Enlightenment. No biggie. Yeah, but really, my chapter was created not just to impart knowledge, but to impart an impression in the energy that is a guide back to our light, that guides us to bring that light into us, each day, every way. And that is, to me, enlightenment. It is healing. It is finding that wholeness, the holiness, and remembrance. And that is what my heart was in service to in creating this chapter, to allow that to create that for others through reading.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. And Natalie, what's the key takeaway you want readers to have from your chapter and your practice?
Well, truly, my deepest prayer, when people read my chapter is hopefully they can start to peel back those layers of how unworthiness has been playing a role in their life. It's something that I see with many, many of my one-to-one clients. And so what I pray is that they can recognize how worthy they are of everything that they desire, and including like that deep love, that devotion from God, Goddess, Source, Creator, and that any moment that we're feeling called to be rebirthed anew, like that's available to us. We don't need to wait for anyone outside of us to say what is or isn't, available, or what we can or can't do. It's something that we know within our hearts, and that we have the sovereign power to reclaim that for ourselves. And so just knowing how deeply worthy we are in every present moment. And I even pray too. I'm like, I could see people being able to use this resurrection right. Like when we come around to the spring equinox and we're in that Easter time where it's like, you know what? I'm worthy of also going through this right now, and just being able to revisit that whenever their soul feels called.
It's amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you everybody for tuning in today. If you're listening to this video before July 22nd, then find out more about the Magdalene Oracle on any of our social pages. So I'm going to ask the ladies to let you have their social pages in a moment. Mine is cariadspiritual.com. And Sandi, where can people find you?
We're at magdalenerising.com.
Wonderful, thank you. And Angela?
My website is soulrose.love, and you can find me on Instagram at Angela Soul Rose.
Thank you so much. And Natalie?
So you can find me at natalielabonte.com. I will be launching a new website soon, but I'll wait to share that. It'll be posted on my natalielabonte.com. And also you can find me on Instagram at Natalie Jean LaBonte.
Thank you so much. And if you're listening to this video after the 22nd of July, you can head over to Amazon and pick up your copy of the Magdalene Oracle, Awakening the Power of the Rose. Thank you so much for listening. Bye now.